Hello there, a very happy Friday to you. Well, it's nuts to think we're almost out of them in January. Thank you very much for stopping by to check out the Green Pill. I really appreciate it. And yes, this is a place where every Friday a self-professed health and performance fanatic brings you a quality data source and an action point for anyone motivated to make a positive change in their life. And it's all centered around my 6 key pillars to good health, that being sleep, movement, nutrition, meditation, people, and purpose. Now, last week we touched upon nutrition and namely alcohol in honor of Dry January, and we're going to stay on nutrition and touch upon the other very topical thing happening this month, and that is Veganuary. Now, what is it? How good is it for us? And does it really justify the hype? Well, this week's data source is Dr. Gemma Newman. She's been a practicing GP in the UK for almost 2 decades, and she was author of the book, The Plant-Powered Doctor. Now, she shares her own personal story about how she discovered the benefits of a plant-based diet via her husband, who was a marathon runner, who researched ultra-marathon runners and discovered that plant-based diet is very good for recovery. So tried it, and that was actually able to shave an hour off his marathon timing. And that motivated her to research it, motivated her to try it, and I think really importantly, start recommending it to her patients. And she saw remarkable abilities for it to help improve all sorts of conditions, from eczema to IBS to heart disease to even cancer. Now, that might be quite shocking hearing to some, but it's actually advice that's been around from the leading health organizations for a long time, from the World Cancer Research Fund to the American College of Cardiology. It's based off data that's been around for years and years of credible, scientific, controlled research. I've heard it from countless sources. I'm 100% convinced that eating a plant-based diet is absolutely pivotal for having good health. So I guess that means we should all turn vegan, right? I personally don't think so, and the reason for that, Gemma defines beautifully that veganism is a lifestyle choice based around minimizing harm to animals. It's not necessarily has anything concrete to do with diet and optimizing health. And you see that from looking around. There's countless vegan junk food options. There's pretty much every fast food chain has a vegan option now. It's We're not the same thing as optimizing your health. To have a diet optimizing your health is about having real food and real whole plant-based food. For what I mean is fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, seeds. These are all the things that will optimize your health. But you don't necessarily need to eat them all the time. You don't need to be 100% plant-based. There's no real evidence in any of the scientific research that shows that. But you just need to be plant-based predominantly most of the time. And to me, this makes sense. I always go back to the caveman theory when thinking about anything about optimizing health, and how we essentially haven't evolved that much since. So it's the best way to optimize our health, I believe. And if you think about it, logically, for cavemen, it was much easier to go and shake a tree to get food than to go and hunt and kill a wild animal. So naturally, we would have eaten a lot more plants than we would have done meat. And Gemma highlights, really drives this point home by pointing out the data in the blue zones, the places in the world that have the most people living over 100. And she says that these people eat plant-based 90 to 95% of the time. So the data is conclusive. So what this week's action point is, well, of course, turn vegan. No, I can't say I've ever tried it. I would call myself predominantly plant-based. I eat a pretty much whole food plant-based diet throughout the week, barring 2 meals where I have salmon. And I do appreciate, though, it's taken me years to get here. I was a meat lover, and despite being bombarded by this data, I wasn't ready at those times to make that sacrifice, was what I felt in my mind. And then 2 years ago, I went 50% of my week, turned it plant-based, and now I'm probably at about 90%. But I appreciate how difficult it is. So what this week's real action point is for you to set your own self a plant-based personal challenge based on your own comfort zones. You might be ready to go all in. You might be ready to do 50% of your week. You might be ready to do 1 day a week, or hell, you might just be ready to do 1 meal a week. But I would just say, see what you would be comfortable with and set yourself an own personal challenge. Who knows? You might even enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this. And as always, do connect with me. I'd love to hear your feedback, and have a lovely weekend. And remember to stack the odds in your favor and feel good now.